What is going on, Pretender here, back with another Honkai Star guide, and today I'm here with a full build guide for one of the 3 characters that were added to the pool for you to lose your 50-52, this time being Fu Xuan. So in this video, I'm going to be taking you over her kit and Eidolons, followed by that will be best Lightcone options, followed by that will be best Relics and Planar Ornaments, and at the end I will be taking you over Mainstat and Substat recommendations, and also some team general ideas on where you want to and don't want to use her. This video is updated as of the 3.2 update, so when the ability to actually customize your pool to her is actually added. And I also now have a full build guide for all 3 of the limited characters that were added to that ability, so if you're interested in building or updating your build for Zele, Blade, or now Fu Xuan, you can check out the other ones or stay tuned to this one, and if you have multiple, you can check them all out. They will also be in the pinned comment below. So all I want to say before I get into the video, if you guys found it helpful in any way, shape, or form, dropping a like would be greatly appreciated. If you're new and haven't done so already, be sure to subscribe and turn on the bell for future videos like this, along with all other types of Star Wars content and guides. And let's get straight into the video. So Fu Xuan is a quantum character following the path of preservation. Her basic attack deals quantum damage equal to 50% of Fu Xuan's max HP to a single enemy. Her skill activates Matrix of Prescience, via which Fu Xuan's teammates will distribute 65% of the damage they receive before the damage is mitigated by any shields to Fu Xuan for 3 turns. While affected by Matrix, all allied targets gain the knowledge effect, which increases their respective max HP by 6% of Fu Xuan's max HP and increases crit rate by 12%. When Fu Xuan is knocked down, the Matrix will be dispelled. Her ultimate deals quantum damage equal to 100% of Fu Xuan's max HP to all enemies, and obtains 1 trigger count for the HP restore effect granted by Fu Xuan's talent. For talent, while Fu Xuan is active in battle, Misfortune Avoidance is applied to the entire team. With Misfortune Avoidance, allies take 18% less damage. When Fu Xuan's current HP percentage falls to 50% of her max HP or less, HP Restore will be triggered for Fu Xuan, restoring her HP by 90% of the amount of HP she is currently missing. This effect cannot be triggered if she receives a killing blow. The effect has 1 trigger count by default and can hold up to a maximum of 2. Her technique: after the technique is used, all team members will receive a barrier, lasting for 20 seconds. The barrier can block all enemy attacks, and the team will not enter battle when attacked. Entering battle while the barrier is active will have Fu Xuan automatically activate the Matrix at the start of the battle for 2 turns. For her bonus traces, or A2, when Matrix is active, Fu Xuan will generate 20 energy when she uses her skill. Her A4, when Fu Xuan's ultimate is used, heals all other allies by an amount equal to 5% of Fu Xuan's max HP plus 133. And her A6, if a target enemy applies crowd control debuffs to allies while the Matrix is active, all allies will resist all crowd control debuffs applied by the enemy targets during that current action. The effect can only be triggered once. When Matrix is activated again, the number of times this effect can be triggered will be reset. For her Eidolons, her E1, the knowledge effect increases crit damage by 30%. For E2, if any ally target is struck by a killing blow while Matrix is active, then all ally targets who were struck by the killing blow during this action will not be knocked down, and 70% of their max HP is immediately restored and can trigger 1 time per battle. For E4, when other allies under Matrix are attacked, Fu Xuan regenerates 5 energy. And her E6, once Matrix is activated, it will keep a tally of the total HP lost by all teammates in the current battle. The damage dealt by Fu Xuan's ultimate will increase by 200% of the tally's HP loss. This tally is also capped at 120% of Fu Xuan's max HP, and the tally value will reset and be reaccumulated after Fu Xuan's ultimate is used. Taking a look at the best Lightcone options for Fu Xuan, her best one is going to be none other than her signature Lightcone, which provides the wearer a 24% increase to max HP and also a 12% increase to energy regen rate. When the wearer's HP is reduced, all allies damage dealt increases by 9% for 2 turns. And at the start of every wave, restores HP to all allies by an amount equal to 80% of their respective lost HP. Preservation is a path that usually does focus on defense, and defense still is good on Fu Xuan, but her main abilities and tanking abilities and damage and all that stuff does actually come from HP. And so the fact that this Lightcone actually does give you a max HP increase is going to be really good on its own. And at the same time, also giving you that 12% energy regen rate is going to be really good to cycle her ultimate faster, because you do want to make sure you have enough ultimates to keep up the charge that will let you proc the talent, because if you don't have any charges, you won't be able to proc the talent's actual charge, which is not going to let your Fu Xuan heal, and that's going to lead her to die very fast. And on top of that, practically throughout the battle permanently, your entire team is going to be doing 9% more damage, which isn't much, but it's still a nice bonus to have. Since Fu Xuan will always be taking damage instead of your team, well, your team still takes a little bit, but she gets the damage directed towards her, so she will constantly be losing HP, so just giving your team constantly 9% damage for free. And then anytime you do start a new wave, you will actually give everyone 80% of the respective lost HP. So if you are someone that's going for a multitude of cycles and waves, then you actually will be able to notice this, especially if you do get lower on HP. So everything the Lightcone does provide, max HP, is going to benefit everything she does do. The extra ERR is going to be fantastic as well to help you get ultimate easier. Free 9% damage for your team practically throughout the entire battle, and then if you do start a new wave, you get 80% of respective lost HP, so that's really good, which is why her signature Lightcone is her best option. Another really good option is actually Japar's Lightcone, which increases the wearer's defense by 24% and effect hit rate by 24%, increases the chance for the wearer to be attacked by enemies, and if the wearer is attacked, they get an additional 24% increase to defense until the end of the wearer's turn. So as I mentioned, defense is not wasted on Fu Xuan, as it does also increase her actual tanking capability. Unfortunately, it doesn't provide any forms of HP percent, and also the effect hit rate is useless as she doesn't really need to apply any debuff because she doesn't have one. But this Lightcone practically is giving you a free 48% up to increase in defense, and also increasing the chance for you to get hit, which it still will be better for Fu Xuan herself to get hit, just so your team still will take less damage. She does mitigate the damage your team does take, but in times where you get hit with a single target, if it's directed towards Fu Xuan, then you won't have to worry about your DPS eventually getting chipped down a little bit. So the actual extra taunt is going to be good, and then you're just getting a massive increase to defense, which is going to make you significantly more tanky than you already would be. So the big defense increase, and on top of that, getting a higher chance to get hit, is why it's a really good option. Another good option is the free-to-play Herder Shop Lightcone, which increases effect res by 8%. If the wearer is attacked and has no shield, they will gain a shield equal to 16% of their max HP for 2 turns, and can only be triggered once every 3 turns. If the wearer does already have a shield when they are attacked, they get a 12% reduction in damage, and at S5 it becomes a 16% increase to effect res, a shield that is now equal to 32% of their max HP, and the damage received if you already have a shield becomes 24%. This mainly just focuses on making Fu Xuan able to survive even more. The higher effect res, if you already use up the crowd control resist you do have per skill, then the extra effect res will actually help you there. And now Fu Xuan does gain access to a shield, which will help her take less damage. So anytime she herself is hit, or you get hit with the AoE, which also applies to Fu Xuan, she can gain a shield, and if she still does scale off HP and you build her with HP, she can actually get a pretty beefy shield with this. So that's going to help you be even more tankier and survive even longer. And if you already have a shield up, then you get a 24% reduction in damage, which is going to be very good to actually keep up that shield more. Maybe if you get hit with a big hit when the shield's about to break, you get to reduce that damage still. It's just a really good Lightcone that's going to help you survive a lot more, which is why it's another fantastic option. And another good option is actually the Lando's Choice Lightcone, which the wearer is more likely to be attacked and damage taken is reduced by 16%, and at S5 it's a 24% to damage taken reduced. So very simple. As I mentioned previously, with Japar's Lightcone, it just increases the chance for you to get attacked, which is going to be good to direct more damage away from the team, and you also are getting that damage you do receive, or in this case Fu Xuan does receive, lowered by 24%, so you will be taking less damage in order to sustain for even longer, which is why it's another good option to use. When it comes to the best relic sets for Fu Xuan, she still to this day doesn't really have a dedicated 4-piece set, and it's still better to actually just run 2-piece. One of the most common and the most recommended 2-piece is the max HP set, or the 12% max HP from the 2-piece. That is going to be the best, so you want to make sure you do at least have this, and then combine it with something like 2-piece Hacker Space for 6% speed, or also same thing applies to Relieved Ordeal, as it also gives 6% speed. Or you could take one of those and combine it with something like the 2-piece of the guard set, which will reduce damage taken by 8%. And honestly, that practically is it when it comes to combining 2 pieces. So the best overall is to do 2-piece of the max HP set for 12% max HP. And if you need to actually get help from a relic set to hit a breakpoint that you want to hit, let's say 134, 143, 160, and so on, then 2-piece of one of the speed sets will definitely help you with that a lot. If you already have enough speed from speed boots and then also just your rolls, then you can just take 2-piece of like the max HP set and just do 2-piece guard for the best tanking capability. For Planar Ornaments, it's most recommended to just run any one of them that are going to support your DPS the most. So very common is to run Broken Keel for the 10% effect res, and once you have 30% or higher, you give your entire team 10% crit damage, which also technically can benefit Fu Xuan because when she crits is just going to help you do a little more damage. It's just not really worth noting, but it's funny. But it's mainly just for the fact that it's a good supportive set to give to your team, as she usually always will be paired with other critting based DPS, so extra crit damage does help there from the ornament. You can also very much just use something like Lushaka as well for the extra 5% energy regen rate, and also 12% attack for the character that is positioned first on the team lineup. If they are a actual character that benefits from attack percent, so they're a hyper carry that does scale off attack as well, this will definitely help them as well, so be sure they actually do benefit from that. In those cases, Lushaka is also good to run on her. If you are taking her with a quantum based DPS, then you can use the Penacony set for the extra 5% ERR and increasing 10% for all other allies that are the same type as the wearer, so in this case they would have to be a quantum DPS, so be sure they are quantum, otherwise it is relatively useless and you're better off running something else. But if you are pairing her with another quantum DPS, then it can be a good option. And then Aegis is also a good option because the max HP actually is very beneficial in this case because Fu Xuan does scale off that, and you're also giving 8% attack if you do hit 120 speed or higher for your actual team. So again, if you do have characters that do benefit from attack percent or just scale off their attack in general, which is why you'd be using one of these kind of sets in the first place, it actually becomes an option you can use. For the main stats on the relics, for the body, you want to do HP percent. For the feet, you want to do speed, and the reason I don't recommend HP percent base builds is because you want to make sure you at least have the 134 speed or higher mark just to be sure you have enough turns to constantly be getting your ultimate back, because the more times you attack, the more energy you do get. Yes, it will expire your skill quicker, but she can still use it enough, and you want to be sure to be able to use your ultimate enough because nowadays enemies hit a lot harder than they used to, so you will often not have enough charges if you do build her base speed, and if you don't have enough charges, you're going to constantly be getting chipped down and dying in the end. With the actual speed, it's going to help you get more energy, as I mentioned, which will lead to more ults, and that will lead for you to actually have more trigger counts up to keep the heal actually active, which is why I recommend always running speed boots. For the orb, you want HP percent, and for the link rope, you want energy regenerate. For the substats, first you want to prioritize speed to hit 134 speed or higher. Past 134 if you want to get higher breakpoints, so 143, 160 or higher if you want to go. That is up to you, but 134 minimum is going to be the first actual thing you want to hit. Past that, if you are running Broken Keel, you want to be sure you hit 30% effect rest to get the actual effect, and then equal to that, you want to get more HP percent to get the scaling better, and also defense percent is going to be good. As I mentioned previously in the video, defense is going to be really good because it's going to help you be more tanky. But once again, first focus on speed, get it to 134, and then if you want any further breakpoints, that will be up to you. Past that, if you are running Broken Keel, 30% effect res, and then with that is going to be more HP percent and also defense percent. Now for some team building ideas. As Fu Xuan is actually a sustained, you have a lot more flexibility than you do as if it was a DPS and such. So you practically just use her on the teams you want to sustain. The only teams I don't really recommend using her on is a break team, as there are just better options for break specifically, and that practically is it. She works as a fine sustain anywhere else. Usually every option of a team has a better option, but anywhere else she will be doing good. If you have a crit based DPS team, that's going to be great. The only times you do want to consider stuff is if you are running an HP scaling DPS that is also a drainer, so Castress, also like Mide, and also someone like Blade. One of those, if you are running those as a main DPS, and Fu Xuan as your sustain, she doesn't actually have healing output that is super good. So running a actual DPS with her that does a lot of HP draining is going to be a bit troublesome. She still can manage it fine if your Fu Xuan and your team is well built. So in those cases, she still can work, and then again, her max HP buff is going to be fantastic for them as they scale up max HP, and then they also do want to crit, so the extra crit rate buff is good. Just be sure you don't actually end up draining too much HP and then end up dying, because Fu Xuan once again does not heal as much. She only will heal off her ultimate for your team, so if you end up dying too much, she's not going to work for you. But if you have other teams, so maybe if you're running like a Acheron team, she was fine there as well. You could just go ahead and your Acheron, she will do good. So sustain Acheron depends if you're doing a Nihility build or Nihility team E2 or E0. In this case, I'll just use an E2 example, so Jiaoqiu, and then last slot would be your Harmony support, and then if you're running a double Nihility, you know, you just take out the Harmony support, put someone else, so I'll just go ahead and throw on someone like Black Swan. So, again, it really is a lot more flexible. This is not your only option, you know, if you want to run a Feixiao team, so in this case, you would just take Feixiao, you have also someone like Topaz, and then last slot would be someone like Robin, then you would just sub out for whatever you do or don't have. So if you don't have Topaz, you just run Heart March 7th or Moles or whatever you're doing. Again, Fu Xuan is a sustain. She is going to generally be good on any team you can make her work on. The only things you want to note is on break teams. That's really where you don't want to run her on, as there are just significantly better options. And then for HP scalers such as Caster, Speed 8, and Blade, you just want to be sure you don't end up HP draining too much to the point that you die because you're too low on HP. As Fu Xuan, once again, can actually do some pretty good tanking still, but she does not heal enough to where it will actually outdo the HP drain that is being done. So if you still end up dying with those HP scalers, then Fu Xuan is not going to be meant for that team. So again, definitely keep that in mind. And yep, that is the full Fu Xuan guide. Once again, hope you guys found the video helpful. If you did, dropping a like would be greatly appreciated. If you haven't done so already, be sure to subscribe and turn on the bell icon for future videos like this, along with all other types of Star Wars content and guides. And I'll see you later. Peace out.